Jeremiah 23. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, says the Lord. Therefore, thus says the Lord God of Israel against the pastors who feed my people. You have scattered my flock, have driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, says the Lord. And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries, where I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they will be fruitful and increase. And I will set up shepherds over them, who shall feed them, and they will fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, says the Lord. Behold, the days come, says the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and will execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Judah will be saved, and Israel will dwell safely. And this is his name, where he will be called the Lord our righteousness. Therefore, behold, the days come, says the Lord, that they will no more say, The Lord lives, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord lives, which brought up, and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all countries where I had driven them, and they will dwell in their own land. My heart within me is broken because of the prophets. All my bones shake. I am like a drunken man, and like a man whom wine has overcome, because of the Lord, and because of the words of his holiness. For the land is full of adulterers, for because of swearing the land mourns. The pleasant places of the wilderness are dried up, and their course is evil, and their force is not right. For both prophet and priest are profane. Yes, in my house have I found their wickedness, says the Lord. Where their way shall be unto them as slippery ways in the darkness. They will be driven on, and fall there. For I will bring evil upon them, even the year of their visitation, says the Lord. And I have seen folly in the prophets of Samaria. They prophesied in Baal, and caused my people Israel to err. I have seen also in the prophets of Jerusalem a horrible thing. They commit adultery, and walk in lies. They strengthen also the hands of evildoers, that none doth return from his wickedness. They are all of them unto me as Sodom, and the inhabitants thereof as Gomorrah. Therefore thus says the Lord of hosts concerning the prophets, Behold, I will feed them with wormwood, and make them drink the water of gall. For from the prophets of Jerusalem is profaneness gone forth into all the land. Thus says the Lord of hosts, Hear not unto the words of the prophets that prophesy unto you. They make you vain. They speak a vision of their own heart, and not out of the mouth of the Lord. They say still unto them who despise me, The Lord has said, Ye will have peace, And they say to everyone who walks after the imagination of his own heart, no evil will come upon you. For who has stood in the counsel of the Lord, and has perceived and heard his word? Who has marked his word and heard it? Behold, a whirlwind of the Lord is gone forth in fury, even a grievous whirlwind. It will fall grievously upon the head of the wicked. The anger of the Lord will not return until he has executed, until he has performed the thoughts of his heart. In the latter days you will consider it perfectly. I have not sent these prophets, yet they ran. I have not spoken to them, yet they prophesied. But if they had stood in my counsel, and had caused my people to hear my words, then they should have turned them from their evil way and from the evil of their doings. Am I a God at hand, says the Lord, and not a God afar off? Can any hide himself in secret places where I will not see him, says the Lord? Do not I fill heaven and earth, says the Lord? I have heard what the prophets said, that prophecy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed. How long will this be in the heart of the prophets, who prophesy lies? Yes, they are prophets of the deceit of their own heart, which think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams, which they tell every man to his neighbor, and as their fathers have forgotten my name for Baal. The prophet who has a dream, let him tell a dream, and he who hears my word, let him speak my word faithfully. What is the chaff to the wheat, says the Lord? Is not my word like as a fire, says the Lord, and like a hammer that breaks the rock in pieces? Therefore, behold, I am against the prophets, says the Lord, who steal my words, every one from his neighbor. Behold, I am against the prophets, says the Lord, who use their tongues and say, He says. Behold, I am against those who prophesy false dreams, says the Lord, and do tell them, and cause my people to err by their lies, and by their lightness, yet I sent them not, nor commanded them. Therefore they will not profit this people at all, says the Lord. And when this people, or the prophet, or a priest, will ask you, saying, What is the burden of the Lord? You will say unto them, What burden? I will even forsake you, says the Lord. And as for the prophet, and the priest, and the people, who will say, The burden of the Lord, I will even punish that man and his house. Thus will you say everyone to his neighbor, and everyone to his brother, What has the Lord answered? And what has the Lord spoken? And the burden of the Lord will you mention no more, for every man's word will be his burden. For you have perverted the words of the living God, of the Lord of hosts our God. This is what you will say to the prophet. What has the Lord answered you, and what has the Lord spoken? But since you say the burden of the Lord, therefore, this says the Lord, because you say this word, the burden of the Lord, and I have sent unto you, saying, You will not say, the burden of the Lord. Therefore, behold, I, even I, will utterly forget you, and I will forsake you, and the city that I gave you and your fathers, and cast you out of my presence. And I will bring an everlasting reproach upon you, and a perpetual shame, which will not be forgotten.